Puritans arrived in America, they quickly realized they needed a source of iron. The Native Americans living there were still in the Stone Age. The Puritans had two options: either import iron from Britain or find a way to make it themselves. In 1645, John Winthrop, who was a Puritan, decided that he was going to build an ironworks. He was inexperienced in the iron industry, so his first attempt in building an ironworks in Braintree, Mass. was a failure. Later he brought Richard Leader, who was an English engineer, to America. He was an expert in the iron industry and chose a new location in Saugus, Mass. The location was next to a river, which connected to ports in Beverly and Boston. The location was favorable for both importing and exporting supplies, iron, and even workers. It was also surrounded by a lot of trees, which was good for fuel. The river also was rich with iron ore. The ironworks affected the Essex County in several ways. Socially, the mill developed a relationship between the Puritans and non-Puritans. Since the Puritans weren't skilled to work the machines themselves, they brought in British experts and Scottish war prisoners to do these jobs. The Puritans and non-Puritans didn't always agree with each other's customs and rules. The non-Puritans didn't go to church on Sundays, which caused some tension. The non-Puritans also enjoyed themselves by drinking and socializing, which was frowned upon by the Puritans. Even though there was sometimes tension between the two groups, relationships did occur, and even marriages between them. In time, they learned to live with one another and accept their differences, even though they didn't always get along, but it brought diversity into the states. Obviously, the ironworks helped the economy by manufacturing goods, but it also industrialized America. The Saugus Ironworks did produce a lot of profit for a short time. The profit did not last for long, since improvements and innovation continued in an even faster pace. The ironworks was a stepping stone to the future businesses in the iron industry. Politically, they were trying to become self-sufficient from England. To do this, they needed a source of income, and also they needed to be able to produce their own goods. In order to produce their own goods, iron was a necessity. Without their own iron, they would need to be imported from England. Puritans were trying to establish their own identity and freedom from England, so iron production was a top priority. Within the ironworks, there were 3 steps in manufacturing iron. First, it goes to the blast furnace. The blast furnace is 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit, which separates the iron from other rocks. After this, I went to the forge, where they made bars, which were later sold to merchants or blacksmiths. This also is where iron was purified. The last step was the slitting mill. Where rods made in the forge were made into nails and also sold to merchants. The ironworks produced 8 tons of iron each week and 1/7 of the iron in the world at the time. In 1650, they manufactured just as much iron as Europe. Today the site has been restored and is open to the public year-round. There is a museum which I didn't get to go to because it was being repaired. All of the buildings, including the blast furnace, the forge, and the slitting mill, are still intact and are available to tour. At the location, there is a working mill powered by water from the Saugus River. The building is the forge. Rangers at the site will even give you a live demonstration of the working water mill. There are even many samples of iron rods, nails, and tools that were produced from this site that visitors can see today. If you get a chance to visit it someday, I suggest you ask for a live demonstration of the mill. You won't be disappointed.